start off our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and the Mount Marty prayer. All right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
O God, creator of all things and source of all wisdom and knowledge, send your Holy Spirit to guide our thoughts, words, and actions so that everything we do will begin with your inspiration and continue with your guidance and blessing. Help us to speak and act with the integrity so that we may uphold the values of Mount Marty University. May we use our talents and abilities in the best ways possible so that you may be glorified and our neighbors served. We pray these things through Jesus, your Son, in the power of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. So welcome to Mount Marty University. Great to see everybody here. This is the first of what I hope will be many things to come with the connection between the Yankton community and Mount Marty University. I'm Dave Spencer, member of the Optimist Club. I'm also a business instructor here at Mount Marty. So this is a result of a project that we did in class last year to really bring service clubs are struggling nationwide. There's no question about it. The Kiwanis Club here in Yankton, after 100 years, folded camp last year. And so what's the future of service clubs? And so working with young students, as obviously service is a big thing here at Mount Marty as far as our mission and what we teach and our values. But to see it interact with the community, sometimes we have to really show and illustrate what that's all about. And so part of this came out of a class of entrepreneurship that says, what's the problem with service clubs and how do we get them to survive? And so today we have members from the Sertoma Club, Rotary Club, Lions Club, and the Optimist Club. Today the Optimist Club is hosting today's meeting. It's going to be one of 4 that we're going to have across the campus here, right here in the Roncalli Center. One in October. October 24th will be our next one, hosted by the Rotary Club. So Kevin Moe, you pressured on. Where, Kevin? Yeah. Then we'll have Sertoma and Lions next semester. So the idea is maybe there's some ideas we can share between service clubs and groups and what our projects are and what we do. I'm just going to spend 1 minute about the Optimist Club and then bring a topic that would be of interest of everybody. And maybe it would help people like Dr. Kindle, Dr. Long, instead of coming to all 4 of our meetings to speak, we could come together and save them some time and get the message to all of us at one time. So there's a lot of purposes here, a lot of benefit to everybody that could come and more and more. And so I think the other sign is the students out there. I had several say, what's going on? What's going on out there? And 3 of those 4 at that table were part of that entrepreneurship. I said, do you remember that project we had? One of the groups had, how do service clubs survive and work together? And the eyes lit up. The eyes lit up. I'm like, yeah, it happened. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So we've got some teachers, other instructors here from Mount Marty as well today, and I'm happy to have everybody here, and just a great turnout. And again, we'll have more of these going down the road, and hopefully more and more in the future. So with that, I'm going to have our first speaker is going to be Dr. Wayne Kindle from the Yankton School District with the presentation. We'll follow that with Dr. Marc Long, and I know they'll probably have some time for questions if you have that. And so just, everybody like the meal, the food? Here? I get a chance to do that every day here, so it's like kind of watch what eat sometimes. But it's all good here at Mount Marty. A lot of great things going on, and we're just happy you could be here today. So, Dr. Kindle, if you're ready to go,
yep,
we'll rock and roll with it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, everybody. So a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to, I think it's the Yankton Women's Club, and I don't know if any of you were in there, but we were in the same room. I think there were around 60 ladies that showed up. It was a great turnout. We had good discussion, and it's nice to see another big turnout. Matter of fact, I told them that was one of the largest groups I've spoken to in a while, but you're right up there, maybe second. I'm gonna give them credit for first, because they were really nice to me. I got 8 hugs, and so it was really a good morning. I want to start out with something. I've been in Texas at a national superintendent's forum. I was invited 4 times. I said no 3 because absolutely the dates conflicted. So I finally went. I was there Saturday, got in half day early, came home yesterday, It was a fantastic conference. And it's really good to get around. There were 100 superintendents across the country invited to attend. So it wasn't where you got lost in the crowd of 1,000 different superintendents. We had a lot of one-on-one time sitting at tables. They had different topics. And what I walked away from is that we do some really good things here in Yankton. Not only in our school district, but our collaboration with the city, and Yankton Thrive, Mount Marty University. It's just really good. And our parent communication and working with our parents, I think, is really good. We can always improve in areas, but you know, you walk away, and I learned a few things, but not very many. And I say that only as a compliment to this community that we're doing great things in Yankton. So while I was there, yesterday I was at the Dallas airport and my phone lit up. And it lit up that there was something posted on Facebook, and I want to talk about that because that was not part of my presentation that I had planned, but you learn to adapt, so I did. And luckily, good news or bad news, our plane got delayed. I was on the plane and they had mechanical, so I got to keep my phone on and finish. So I want to take you to what happened yesterday if you didn't hear about it. We're going to log into the website, I think. It's not coming up on there. Screen. Okay, while he's doing that, I'm going to talk about it. So I don't know if anybody saw it, but we put out, Chief Foote and I, we communicated quite a bit about this. We put out a joint message to all of our parents in the school district, but essentially this is what it was. We had an adult in the community post that there was an active shooter at or near the middle school, along with several police cars, so on and so forth. Well, you can imagine what this does for parents and kids in the community. We all go into high alert. None of it was accurate. And that's why I want to talk about it just a little bit. So the report was completely false. There was no truth to it. It created a lot of unrest with our kids in our schools, lots of parent phone calls. I couldn't keep up with the messages on my phone and the emails and so, you know, we are always concerned about the safety and the security of our students and staff. But I think my message here, just briefly, and then we'll move on, is that unless it comes from my office, the chief of police, it may not be accurate information. And this is not to say, and I hope it never happens, that we have some kind of incident in our school. My first priority will not be sending a message out to people. My first priority will be to make sure that our kids and our staff are safe. And then when I can send a message out, or the chief and I can send one together, when we know that we've secured whatever we need to, you will get accurate information from one or both of us. And I know I'm not speaking to anybody in here that did this, but I just hope that that's a really clear message to everybody, because it's frustrating to say the least, but it really gets a lot of people worried, and rightfully so. I have 11 grandkids in school in the district. I have all of your kids and all of your grandkids. I worry about them equally, but we don't want this, we don't need this. So don't post something like this. It was not good. Okay, any questions about that? Then I'll move on and be more positive. Okay, thank you. We're gonna move on to the next one. On a more positive note, before we jump into this, if you saw in the paper and on our website, we will be celebrating 100 years of homecoming in Yankton. And so I talked to the high school principal and the activities director, and I said, I want to switch it up on how we select a parade marshal. We want to select 2 this year, and moving forward, we're going to see how this works. So you can nominate at the high school, you can get a hold of the high school principal, and you can nominate somebody from the community, because we're going to have a community parade marshal, and somebody that's on staff in the school district. So we're going to have 2 parade marshals this year. We're going to kick it off, this new way of doing it, with our 100 years of homecoming in Yankton. So please do that. If you have somebody to nominate, please do so. We'd love to hear from you. So I now have, I hope, a funny story for you, so we can put my earlier stuff off to the side and get you back into this mood. So last year, had a first grade teacher tell me what I thought was a funny story. So this happened in May of last school year. She was teaching first graders, and they were talking about leaders and leadership in the country and in our community. And she asked, you know, who's the president, who's the mayor, who's the chief of police, so on and so forth. And the kids were raising their hands. They had really funny answers, of course, and they had accurate answers in the end. So one of the questions she said was, does anybody know who our school leader is? And the kids were jumping up and down. Now I'm repeating what she told me. And one little girl, she could not sit still. She was jumping. She goes, I know who it is. So she called on her and she said, who's our school leader? And the little girl, first grader, said, Grandpa Kindle. And here's the funny part. It wasn't one of my grandkids. I loved it. I found out who it was. I went to the room. I got the nicest hug. So that was pretty sweet. That made my day. And frankly, that's part of the reason I continue to do what I'm doing, is that those are the best. That's the best part of it. So I want to take you here real quick. We're going to flip on this arrow. This is on our website. Please take a look at it. This is our welcome back information, our welcome back newsletter. And it's in a flip book, so if you go on our website, you can click on that arrow to the right, and if you keep clicking, it'll flip you through, so you don't have to print anything, we don't have to print anything, it's all online, it's really nice, and it's nicely done. So that's our most recent publication that we put out. Okay, thank you, back to the presentation. All right, I gotta move along quickly here. Got a lot of information to share. So welcome back to the 24-25 school year. That does happen to be 2 of my grandkids right there. So a little bit about the school district. Think of this, established in 1875, first high school in South Dakota. We'll have our 150th birthday next year as a school district. So next fall, we'll plan some different events. We serve around 2,830 students, about 450 full and part-time employees. Of course, you know, 4 elementaries, middle school, high school, and Trailhead Learning Center, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So this past school year, we had several families move out. So we lost about 70 students last school year. And we tracked where those families went to the best that we could. Most of them went out of state. Some went to other communities in South Dakota. So we lost about 70 students throughout the school year. We knew that our fall enrollment, which is now, would look a little bit different than fall of 2023. And I'll show you a graph here in a minute. But what I do is I always like to look at the May enrollment. So I did look at the May enrollment, and it will pretty much align itself to what your fall enrollment will be. Give or take a little bit, usually it's up a little bit, but that's a good indication of what your May enrollment will look like your fall enrollment. And what I do is I always go back and I go, okay, in May, our kindergarten class was this big, what's our first grade class look like this fall? Does that make sense? So you want to look at retention. And we retain really well from May to our fall enrollment. And then May 2024 student enrollment was 2819. Our actual fall enrollment is 2830, so it's a bit more than what it was in May. So here's a graph for you. Sorry, Dr. Long. It kind of shows what our enrollment has done. I've been superintendent, I'm in my 12th year. One of our goals was to increase our enrollment, and it has done that. We knew that when we hit this, it was a little bit of an outlier, and it was. I would say that our enrollment will probably stay at about 2840. I'm gonna guess somewhere in there for the next few years. But that's a quick snapshot of our enrollment. Our preliminary budget, which people asked about, that was done in July. We just approved it at the September school board meeting. It was actually projected on 2,860 kids, so we've adjusted that. I tend to be conservative, and I got out of my conservative data enrollment mode and I bumped our budget projections to 2860. I should have left them because my projections were at about 2840, so we would have been pretty darn close to what the projection was. So moving forward, our projected enrollment will be at 2840 for budget purposes. And then, most of you know this, but at the bottom in red, we take our official enrollment with the state the last Friday of September, and that's what our state aid is based on. Trailhead Learning Center. The construction continues. If you drive out by the airport, you take a look, the construction continues. It is amazing what can happen in a year, right? I mean, you look at the facility out there, and it's hard to believe that we're this far along. We have bi-weekly construction meetings. We have them every 2 weeks. Sometimes we have more than that. We might have to meet a couple of times, sometimes 3 times in a week, but we always have a bi-weekly meeting. We take possession in mid-January, and then if you want to put this on your calendar here, well, that's not going to work, so we won't do that. April 24th, which is a Thursday, that'll be our dedication and our community open house. More details to come. We are going to make sure that you have plenty of time to go in and see the facility. I'm working side by side with Melanie Reichen, and we will have a great dedication and an open house. And then we will go in the fall of 2025-26. Here are some drive-by notices. Probably some of you might be wondering about this, about Trailhead Learning Center. There are some large silver tanks, and they sit on the north side of the building. And what they are is they're not, they look like big cakes. They're not cakes. I've been asked that more than once. They're not cakes of any kind. But they are state-of-the-art chilling units for our food service area and for the building. And I've looked at all the stuff that hooks up to those. I don't know how they make it work, but it's unbelievable. So that's what those silver tanks are. On the corner of the buildings, I've been asked about that. You'll see stairways because probably 90% of the glass in the building, you'll notice, it's reflective, you can't see in, and that's done for security reasons. But the corners are not very good, and you can see the stairwells on 2 corners of the building. I'm sure you've noticed that. We will have a local person come in, they will put window film on that, and we will make sure that you can't see in. But those are fire exits for upstairs so the kids can get out. The dark metal areas, I've been asked about that look really nice. They're a nice light brown color. The reason that is not bricked and we have steel siding, that's for future add-on. So at some point, our first grade will go out there. So instead of tearing brick off, they can just take the sheets of metal off and add on to the building. And we did that purposely so that it would be easier and less costly. The tallest structure is the gym, and you'll notice, maybe you don't, maybe I'm revealing something I shouldn't, but I like to be transparent. There are stains on the gym if you get close enough. They don't look very good, but we are taking care of that. They put too much sealer coat on the outside and it ran. Well, the contractors told me, you know, if you give it some time, that'll just fade away. I said, no, we aren't gonna do that. That'd be like telling my wife, it'll just fade, Marge. Not happening. We're gonna take care of it. So we've got a solution that will be done here in the next couple of weeks. And then at the very bottom, there will be sidewalk around the entire perimeter of our campus and our facility, which includes along 31st Street. There will also be fencing along there. Right now, we're kind of in this, we're not sure what we're going to do because BY Water is planning to add a new service line, maybe where our new sidewalk and our fencing would be. So we don't want to put it in, tear it out, put it in, but we're going to work with the engineers and see at a minimum if we can at least get the fencing away from the project, because we need something secure out there for our little runners, because they'll run, some of them. So we don't want any of our little kids to get out on the highway, and they shouldn't be in that area regardless, but you never know. All right, better move quickly. Here are some pictures. It's amazing what, you know, you see the drawings and you think, gosh, I really hope it does look like this. It's really looking like this. So it's just gonna be fantastic. You know, this just isn't fake news. Like all this stuff you see, it looks like this when you go in there. And you are gonna be amazed when you get in there. And not only amazed, but you're gonna be proud of living in this community. And you're gonna be proud of what you have built for our youngest learners in Yankton. There's nothing like this in the region. And our littlest learners are gonna get the greatest start of anybody in South Dakota, in my opinion. We're gonna do it, and we've done it right. There's an aerial view. Jake Hoffner, where are you? We have pictures that you can go to on our website. If you see any aerial views, this is just a drawing, but Jake has done multiple aerial views for us. And one time I got after him, I'm like, Jake, are you flying and taking that picture? Yes, he was. I feel like, oh, Sandy was, okay. Right. Thank you to both of you. Okay, more on trailhead learning. This is really important. Furnishings have been specifically designed and selected for these kids. So when you go in there and we have our open house, don't be disappointed if it's not something that you can sit in, okay? It's for little kids, preschool kids, and you're gonna love it when you see it. The delivery of the furnishings will come later this fall. The company that we've hired does all the assembly, all of the staging, everything, okay? Otherwise, I'd be calling on all of you to bring your screwdrivers, pliers, socket sets, but I don't have to do that. Once done, the school will be move-in ready, other than personal items being moved over. Here's the really neat thing is that we take possession about the 3rd week of January. So our teachers, our staff will have from 3rd week of January until opening day in August to get in there, feel comfortable, unlike some other moves that we made when we went to the SAC Center and when we moved to what is the current middle school. Do any of you remember that? We moved over Christmas break. Yours truly, we did it over Christmas break, but we have a better plan for this. None of our kids will move in there till fall. There will be no mid-year moving of any of our kids. Our class sections and teachers of grades 1 through 5 at Webster will become part of Stewart School next fall. And then all of the kindergartners go in preschool and junior K go to the new school. And then this has been asked, we're going to evaluate our 16 in-town bus pickup locations to see how we can serve any of the parents that need those little kids to get out to Trailhead Learning Center. Right. This is what I think, like right now, I bet 95% of those little kids, parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, they drop them off because most people don't send their little 3 and 4-year-old out to get on a bus, and you know what I mean. So, but we'll have some busing available to get kids to school. All right, I have 4 minutes. Trailhead Learning Center, you can use this to click on right now if you want to. There's more information, but it's all on the website. This is really neat. Melanie Reichen and I have been invited to present at a national conference in Houston, Texas, November 11th through the 14th. They are going to use Yankton at this national conference as their model school in the country and showcase it to other schools around the country. Yankton's going to get put on the map there. We're excited about it, and Melanie and I are excited about presenting. So we have an opportunity to really showcase Yankton. And we're going to recruit workforce while we're there. We're going to recruit families. We're going to recruit our businesses, our healthcare, education, all of it. School safety. Here are some different things that we do in our school. I know that has become something really big lately. Matter of fact, in the way walking in here this morning, Belfouche, Rapid City, Sioux Falls received threats in the last 2 days. It's really just not good stuff, but these are some things that we do. See something, say something. And by the way, we wouldn't have known about this as quickly as we did, but we had 3 parents call us and say, we think you should know something's posted. So any of you in this room, if you see something like that, feel free to reach out to us. See something, say something. That's how we were able to get on top of this. Yes.
Just to add to that, I saw something Sioux Falls when I was, don't repost, report.
Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
Don't repost, report it. Yes, do that. Thank you, Todd. That's very good. And then we have Safe to Say South Dakota. I Love You Guys, which is a new program that we've implemented. Any parents in here? I think there are a few. Raise your hand quick. You've received the emails and the posts and the things that we're doing with I Love You Guys. We've actually had to use that like 4 different times already, some different steps in that. Of course, we have school resource officers, our drills, safety vestibules at school, special window tinting in our safety vestibules, and then this is great. This partnership that we have with law enforcement is just absolutely tremendous. Real quick, safety vestibules. I never thought as school superintendent that I would ever do this. But 2 weeks ago, Chief Foote, I, and Sheriff Christie, and a couple of others, we went out to the shooting range, if you can believe that. We took a door from one of our buildings that had just been specially tinted as part of our safety vestibule project in our schools the last couple of years. And the officer, AK-40, whatever, AK something, thank you, shot it up multiple times, simulated somebody getting into one of our elementary schools or a middle school. It was very eerie. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but we did it. They shot it up. Then they took a sidearm, shot. And then what they did is they simulated somebody trying to bust the glass in, because what it did with this new film on it, it didn't bust up like if I were to kick that window, it would crash a hole. It stuck together. There were holes in it, but it held it together. Then they took a fire axe, which I don't think somebody would have, and just tore into it and finally got in. My point is, it worked. Like if somebody had it and they had the butt of their gun trying to get in, law enforcement, I am positive, would be there. It would buy them time to get to our building. Now that's an eerie thing to talk about, but we have that in all of our entrances in all of our buildings now. That film is put on all those windows. And effective 2 weeks ago, it was mandatory by me that not only are all of our classroom doors locked, they are closed now during the school day. Chief Foote and I had a 2-week conversation about this. I didn't know if that's something we wanted to do or not for a variety of reasons. He recommended that, I agree with him, and that's what we've done. So it'll be a little bit of an inconvenience for kid goes to the bathroom, they got to knock to get back in, but that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to skip through these. I'm not going to talk about these. I do want to just hit on I Love You Guys. This is the program that we've implemented. Over 50,000 agencies and organizations have done this. We found out after we implemented it this fall that the South Dakota Department of Public Safety is now going to implement that same program statewide. So we're ahead of their rollout. We didn't know they were doing that, but we found that out. So that's just another affirmation of how good it is. There's more about it. We work with Yankton Police Department, Sheriff, EMS, all those people. We want to continue to increase our communication, okay? Here's a big piece of this. This is in the news, cell phone use. You've all heard about it. There are schools banning cell phone use. I am not a proponent of banning cell phone use. What I am a proponent of is that we teach kids how to use their phones. For instance, if we have a crisis at school, a school shooter, we are in a lockdown, we should teach our kids how to use those phones and how to communicate with their parents. That we are in fact in a lockdown, we're safe, whatever needs to message, they can help us with that. The other thing, we also want to make sure that we don't just randomly let kids use their phones in our schools, and you know that. So there's a misconception with schools, I'm going to just speak for Yankton, we just don't nilly-willy let kids be on their phone all the time. They're in class to learn. If Sandy Hoffner's at our high school and still teaching and she wants the kids to have their phones out to use something that she's teaching, fine. That's what we'll do, but I'm just not a proponent of banning the phones for a reason that I just gave and probably some other ones. We're doing a good job with it, in my opinion, in Yankton. We're going to continue to do a good job with working with parents and kids with cell phone use. Let's see here. I love you guys. We talked about it at the August meeting. We did a staff development training on the 13th. We did a parent meeting on August 26th. We had some parents there. It was good dialogue. On October 28th, all of our staff will do another training, and then we'll do an additional training on May 20th. But we really think that this is key. This is a good program. And again, it's all about better ways to communicate with parents and to make your school safe. Alumni Foundation, Franny Kiefer is our executive director. She was hired a few months ago. She's done an outstanding job. You can get on the website. You can find the Alumni Association on there. We have a terrific board of Yankton High graduates, former graduates of Yankton High School that are now alum, and they're doing some really amazing things. And I'm sure that you heard that two of our former alum provided $100,000 to a scholarship in memory of Bob Move. And so that just tells you that, people are out there, they're reading about it, they want to give back to the school in different ways, and we're really grateful for that. Last couple of things here, stay connected with us with our phone app. If you want to learn more about it, call my office, call any of your children's office where they go to school. We'll hook you up. If you don't use it, you should, because it's really easy. And you would have gotten that message that I sent out yesterday on your phone. And you get it anyway, because we also use Infinite Campus. Video board, we have a new video board at Crane Youngworth. If you haven't been to any of the soccer, any of those things, you should get out there. It's great. We partnered with Mount Marty University. It's just a really great opportunity to advertise more for businesses in town, but it's also a really good experience for you, the fan that's there. You get to see the kids, you get to see it's just a lot of fun. And so that video board is up and running. There's what it looks like. We redid the entire sign. That hasn't been redone for several years. And then electronic message boards in front of our schools. It was part of our 5-year plan. I know that somebody wrote an editorial about me and the school board that we bought these. We did not use any money from the opt-out, okay? The opt-out's a whole separate fund. That's general fund. What we did use is capital outlay, and this was part of our 5-year plan. The signs that were in there before were 30 years old, and you had to lift it, take letters, and put letters up there.
Right.
We sometimes used it for detention at the middle school when it was cold. They'd love to do the electronic sign, so we threw one of our strategies out. So, but it's also timely. Like when we have an event, had there been something yesterday that was serious, we could have easily put that on a message board when we had the time, and you could have easy access. So we have somebody in town that they're going to donate all of their services to put flowers and different things under all of them. They said we love them, so we're not tearing them out. We have the electronic signs. There's a high school sample. Golden lifetime passes. If you're 65 and older, come on out and get one. We'd love to have you. We have provided 1,800 passes since we started this 5 years ago. 1,800. Thank you to this great team. Hope I didn't miss anybody. There's our booster club. They're wonderful. Bucks Gazelles. There's our school board. Sarah Sardis, president. Kathy Greenaway, vice president. Jacqueline Mueller. Dr. Jordan Schild is new this year. And Terry Crandall. And that's it. Any questions? Yes, Martha.
Do you have, like, in Sioux Falls, there's the Spanish immersion school? Anything on that?
We do not have any Spanish immersion. However, we went from around 42 ESL kids 4 years ago, and we have 168 this year. And so we're working with the families. They are great. I'm telling you, the kids have been great. The families, they're here, they want to learn. They work in our community. They're hard to get a hold of, the parents, because they're working all the time. And so, but they're very supportive of our school, and their children appreciate being in school. And we appreciate having them in our school. But we do not have an immersion program. Other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Kindle. While Tristan's getting set with the new PowerPoint presentation, I will just say it's great to have you on campus. I will echo Dave's comments. We love having you here. We also love walking you by all of our students, enjoying their lunch. This is homecoming week. This is Lancer Days at Mount Marty University. And so we have a lot of activities going on. One of the parts of our Benedictine education that we really focus a lot on is the obligation, that's the word we use, the obligation that our students have to make their communities stronger throughout their lives. That's countercultural to youth culture in America, I'm here to tell you, which is take everything out of this world you can get. We say, no, you have an obligation to make your community stronger, starting with this one, the Mount Marty community and the Yankton community. So that's why our students have hundreds, tens of thousands of hours of community service that they provide to the Yankton community. We're very proud of that. So here is the chart that everybody on campus enjoys, or at least it has questions about. So if I had a pointer, which I don't have, you can see that top line there is the Yankton undergraduate enrollment for the last 25 years. Okay, you can see we've never broken that 600 student level, but we're, for all intents and purposes, back at it now. Starting about 2005, it started going down, and it went down for 10 years. And through a lot of hard work and prayer on campus by a lot of people, a lot of them in this room, that has started going up. And it's reversing a national trend, I will say, when you can basically throw a rock at several campuses that have closed in the last decade. The fact that we are continuing to do well at Mount Marty, I think, is two things: the Holy Spirit and a lot of work by a lot of people here. And so very grateful for that and the impact that obviously it has on our students' lives and the Yankton community. The second one is that green area. So if I'm talking to Watertown leaders, it probably wouldn't be as exciting as it is the Yankton leaders, because that's our Watertown undergraduate enrollment. So that started out, at the beginning of this century with 300 to 325 students. As the online education opportunities have really become ubiquitous, we've seen that go down. Now, it's still important ministry for us. You know, the Benedictine Sisters in Watertown helped us establish that campus there 50 years ago. But it is now largely tied with our associate's degree program here in Yankton at the federal prison camp. So we have about 50 to 55 students who are in prison at the FPC, and that is an important part of our ministry. And so we are working at increasing that number in Watertown, because the Watertown community really loves having us there. They really think it's important to have a 4-year option. We're on the campus of Lake Area Tech. We have a very good relationship with Lake Area Technical College, but we would like to see those numbers increase. The yellow line is key because that's so much of our growth, and that's our graduate enrollment. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but that is really where our growth has occurred. We really can't, on the undergraduate side here in Yankton, without building additional residence hall rooms, we really can't increase much past 600. And that's just the way that it is. That's what this campus is designed to. Early part of this century, that 600 that we had there included a pretty robust evening program. Some of the people in here will probably remember that. We don't have that now. So a lot of our administrators who've been here for some time said, there seem like there are more students on this campus now than there have ever been. Well, there are, because we don't have the evening program. So those undergraduates are most of them are traditional age students who are here in school between 8 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So key enrollment points. We're doing very, very well in a competitive market, as I said. These are our 4 largest majors. 71% of our young undergraduates in Yankton are majoring in business, which is now our largest majors, the business faculty in here. Nursing, exercise science, education. They're our 4 largest majors. What I like in terms of the competitive marketplace that I have to spend a lot of time with is each one of these degree programs, at least a portion of it, requires licensure. So business, you think about accounting. If you want to be a CPA, you're going to require licensure. Nursing obviously requires licensure. Exercise science is largely made up of students who intend to go into physical therapy, occupational therapy, athletic training, all require licensure. And education, obviously, as we know, teachers require licensure too. So in this whole context, when we talk about the debate about whether a college education is worth it, absolutely, at Mount Marty University it is, because if you want a job in these areas, you're going to need to get a degree in it. And so then we talk about the importance of and the difference of this Mount Marty education and what it means. But also this increasing graduate enrollment. So Mount Marty University has the largest graduate program in nursing in South Dakota, public or private. When you put our nurse anesthesia students in Sioux Falls and our nurse practitioners who are based here in Yankton together, and then we have a small program of a doctoral program in nursing leadership and education. We overwhelmingly have more graduate nursing students than any other university in the state. What that means for healthcare in our region and what that means especially for rural healthcare is important. And so we all who like good health and like good economy, that's an important thing to realize there. So we have 119 students enrolled in our Doctorate of Nursing Practice program in Sioux Falls. That is the first degree program in nurse anesthesia in America. It's 51 years old. We're very proud of that. And thanks to the sisters who actually, Sister Arthur's the one who got that program started in the early 70s. We've had a nurse anesthesia program, the first in America with a degree is there. 90 enrolled in our Master of Science in Nursing program. That's for family nurse practitioners, psychiatric mental health nurse practitioners. We've doubled enrollment this year from last year in that program, so we're seeing this post-COVID bump that I think is really important. And we have America's second program in endocrinology for practicing nurse practitioners. Duke University has the first, Mount Marty University has the second. And so when you're looking, especially where we're concerned, in diabetes care in rural parts of America, very important. And so we're training those. It's a collaboration with Avera and their endocrinology clinic in Sioux Falls. And we also, I will say, we literally have the woman who's the program director for that program, who wrote the only advanced practice textbook for nurses in endocrinology in America. She's actually in Portland, Oregon. She teaches it online. It's growing quickly, so we're excited about that. We have a new program in biotechnology. That's the only graduate program in biotechnology in either South Dakota or North Dakota. It's based in Sioux Falls. We have 27 students enrolled in that. Dr. Marc Brown is the program director of that, world-class scientist, a world-class entrepreneur who's Catholic, and he really likes, he has a young family, he and his wife, they really like Sioux Falls, and so we were able to get him involved in us, and that the sky's the limit with that program. 24 students enrolled in our Masters of Education program, which is based here in Yankton. That did 2 tracks for that, curriculum and instruction, so for local and regional teachers who want that master's degree. Also, we have a coaching leadership program there, and many of those students are GAs in our athletic programs as well. And then 2, a small number in our Doctor of Nursing practice, which we hope will grow as well. So, economic impact on Yankton. Number 1, we don't get state tax dollars. Let's remember that. So we encourage people around us to support us like they would any local business, right? I wish I had a dime for every time I had somebody ask me what our in-state tuition is. It's the same thing as our out-of-state tuition. Because the state doesn't invest in Mount Marty like it does the public universities. No concerns with that. I'm a graduate multiple times of a public university. I appreciate that. We just have to recognize that Mount Marty is different. And when we're sitting down with families to talk about their costs of attendance here, they're comparing us to public universities, largely in South Dakota and Nebraska, who do get state resources. And so we have to take that into account. So these partnerships with local folks are very, very important for us. And so we love people coming to our athletic events and supporting the Lancers. We love them coming to support our students in the arts. Providing internships for our students in the Yankton community is very important to us. And finally, investing and supporting us in our scholarship endeavors in other ways, very, very important. And I look around, I see a lot of supporters of Mount Marty University in here. Thank you so much for what you're doing for our students, because they are amazing young men. Our 2023 budget was $21.7 million. We look at 2019, it was $6 million, so continued growth in Mount Marty. We have $9 million in annual salaries and wages, $2.8 million in direct Yankton County expenditures at Mount Marty University. And we estimate that each of our Yankton undergraduate students, so the students, traditional age students who are here, spends an average of $6,200 each year on personal supplies and transportation, and much of that is spent in the Yankton community. So you think about the students who are going out to eat and going to Hy-Vee and going to Walmart and just doing things in our community. Very, very important. So my underlying message here, as Mount Marty grows, Yankton grows. And my exclamation points. We have had 8 consecutive years of enrollment growth. I don't know of another faith-based institution in a rural part of America who has had that sustainable growth year after year. And so I have a lot of colleagues who are in this room, and I just thank them for all their hard work and what they've meant to our students and to the Yankton community. We have our largest Yankton enrollment since 2005, and our largest Mount Marty University overall enrollment since 2008. Largest graduate program ever. We've never had more students enrolled in our graduate program, and as I said, the largest graduate nursing program in the state. Congratulations to my colleagues in advancement, largest endowment total ever at $39 million. And here's this quality indicator. Our average incoming Yankton undergraduate this fall was a 3.46. Last fall, it was a 3.5. So we continue to see better prepared students come to Mount Marty and succeed. I'll also tell you that 3 years ago, we had 12 graduates from Yankton High School who enrolled as freshmen at Mount Marty University. Last year, it was 15 students from Yankton High School that enrolled in Mount Marty University. This year, it's 21 students. 10% of the graduating class at Yankton High School enrolled here. That does a lot of great things. Number one, I recognize that parents and students are recognizing and appreciating what a quality academic environment and community this is. We're also keeping, from an economic perspective, that talent in Yankton, right? And so you couple those with the students who are going to USD, that's really good for the Yankton community to be able to keep that talent pool here. And so we hope that continues to grow year over year as well. Our strategic plan was adopted by the board last spring. These are the 3 focus areas. I'll add a 4th as well. Number 1, rural health and well-being, becoming the preeminent Catholic university in America focused on rural health, which I think is very attainable. That's what we're focused on. How do we serve our neighbors? How do we love our neighbors? Strategic partnership with Avera. They recognize, just as we do, that they have exactly one related ministry to them through the sisters, and it's Mount Marty University. And so the leadership at Avera has really been supportive of us in having conversations on how we improve healthcare in our region. And so that's a great conversation to be part of. Continued growth, as I said, in graduate nursing education. We think there's a lot of upside that. Our enrollment increased to 1,000 students by fall of 2026. Now these are metrics that the board has said. This fall we're at 970. So very, very attainable. It might actually be attainable by 2025. So excited. When I started here, we had 750 students. So we are a third larger than we were 10 years ago. 600 undergraduates in Yankton. I've talked about the restraints, the constraints that we have on housing facilities here. So as Yankton adds housing, our students compete a lot with manufacturing workers and others for space. And so as Yankton continues to build and invest in that area, there'll be opportunities for more of our students to move off campus. We really believe that the first 2 years they should be on campus. We also want to teach them how to adult and figure out how to get their own groceries and then plan for expenses and things like that. So that junior and senior year, we're fine with them moving off campus. And the community also provides an opportunity maybe for them to set down roots in the Yankton community, and more of them will stay here after they graduate. And also the board said we'd like to have 260 graduate students by the fall of 2026. This fall we have 263. So check. We're good there. So so excited about that. Fundraising, continue to work. That's where I spend a lot of my time, working with a lot of others on campus to increase our endowment and successfully complete our fundraising campaign. And then finally, I talk a lot about numbers here, but it all boils down to individual students. So probably 2 of the people you'll recognize here are Barb Rezac and me. We were lucky enough, blessed enough to go with 11 students on a monastic experience this summer to Germany and Switzerland. And this is actually at Maria Rickenbach Monastery, which, if it sounds familiar, this is where the Yankton sisters came from 140 years ago. The first sisters came from the Alps in Switzerland to the plains of South Dakota, and their legacy lives on. They sort of, here are 2 of those sisters, they sort of think of Mount Marty as their grandchild when we were there, and so it was great. But we got to spend time around these fantastic young people, and I will say they are representative of so many of our students on campus. In my 31 years in American higher education, I've never worked with a greater group of students than the ones who are on this trip. And Tuesday night, they presented what they were doing to our sisters about their experience in Germany and in Switzerland. And we prayed 4 times a day. We were with monks and we were with sisters, and it really was a monastic experience. We also had a lot of fun. We ate a lot of good food. We did a lot of trips to a lot of cities there. And I have to tell you, I was sitting there listening to these young men and women, and I was crying because it just dawned on me the awesome power of how we help form young people. And I recognized that there are roughly 150 years of history represented in that room. Some of those sisters remember the 1930s, and some of these young people lived to the 2080s and 2090s. And so recognizing that time span and the love that the sisters had for those young people and the nervousness that the young people had presenting to the sisters, but also they were very, very excited, and it is truly a blessing to be able to walk with these young people on their journey. And I'm pleased to join with so many here and so many in this room on helping them on that journey. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for your interest in education in Yankton. There are amazing things going on. The Yankton School District, Sacred Heart School, Mount Marty University. This is a great community, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Any questions anybody has for me? Yes, sir.
Kind of funny, but I think when I first heard that the former nursing home was bequeathed to the Mount Marty,
Yep.
I named the Lancer Lodge, because nothing's really happening on it.
Yeah.
But are there any plans for that building at all?
Yeah, so the Board of Trustees, I will say, wants to keep a hold of that land. The building itself will need to be raised. It just has outlived its usefulness. The board very much, and we have people coming to want to talk to us about possibilities there. We see that perhaps as future residence hall space, and that will probably be most people would say a public-private partnership, but we are a private institution, so it would be a private-private partnership. But I think there are opportunities to work with folks. But that is really a board decision. The Board of Trustees determines sort of what we do with that. But at the very least, it will need to come down, and I think that's in our plans, hopefully in the not too distant future, to raise that building. Good question.
I just wanted to share and say how thankful I am to have your institution and your team up here and the amazing students. I want to give a shout out that Janaea Castro, one of your business students, is interning with us at Yankton Thrive. And we've had just fantastic experiences with the interns, whether they're coming to us from the Yankton High School or from Mount Marty. And so if any of the businesses here are looking to also make a connection, I just wanted to give a shout out that Julie Dykstra at the Department of Labor and Yankton and Mount Marty, we're partnering to host a career fair on Tuesday, September 24th. So the first 9 to 10:30 is with the high school students in the area, and then from 10:30 to noon with the Mount Marty students. So it's a great opportunity to really connect, because I think I learned more from the interns. I see where the gaps are and where we're excelling, and it's been just an eye-opener as far as our workforce and our future needs. So thank you.
Yeah, and thanks, Rita. That's a great point. And yeah, we encourage people to get involved and try and make these connections with our students and keep them in Yankton and just broaden their experiences, even if they don't decide to stay here. I was at a visioning focus group with the city, and poor Todd from the high school was there. He's surrounded by me, a Mount Marty alum, and a Mount Marty current student. And he's like, well, this is sort of a Mount Marty event, which he was fine. He was fine participating in that too. We really talked about the experiences that our students get when they're in Yankton and looking at it from the 18 and 19-year-old eyes who are freshly, away from mom and dad. Some of them international students, so they're new to the U.S. and what sort of experience do they have when they come to Yankton? And so it was great to have that experience. I'll say one other thing, I may have had it in here too, that the four remaining private universities in South Dakota Mount Marty University, Augustana University, the University of Sioux Falls, and Dakota Wesleyan University are net importers of talent into the state. And so if these communities can work effectively to keep more of those students here, they do so without taxpayer dollars being spent for that education. So it's really a no-brainer. There aren't any other small businesses like us who work specifically with young men and women at the beginning of their careers. And so ways that we can partner to do that more effectively. We're already doing a pretty good job, I think. And Craig Mock at Mount Marty grad, is our new Director of Career Services. And he is on fire. He gets the mission of this place, and he just wants to see our students succeed. So feel free to reach out to him. Other questions? Yes, sir.
How many different countries are represented?
In our freshman class this year, we have 18 different countries represented. So 26 states, 18 different countries. So yeah, if you walk through Benedict's Cafe, we call it Benny's, on the first floor of this building, you can see all the flags from all the states where Mount Marty students come from. We're proud of that too. And we think that certainly provides a good dynamic for the Yankton community and their introduction to American culture and life as well. So yeah, keep that in the back of your mind. Good point. Yes, sir.
Can you explain how the addition of the football team is affecting Mount Marty?
Yeah, so the football team is great. Number one, I sort of underestimated. I mean, I knew Yankton was a football town. No question about that. I sort of underestimated how excited so many people were going to get about football. But it's been great. And now, the Lancers have a winning record. They're doing well. There are a lot of people who come from a lot of, alumni. We're going to see them this weekend to come back for homecoming. We did it to increase enrollment. Let's be clear. That's why Mount Marty added football. It's not because I'm a huge college football fan, which I am, but it was to increase enrollment. And we have about 125 guys playing football here. So that enrollment increase to these undergraduate levels, that certainly helps that. But the quality indicators are also very high too. And that's the one thing that the Board of Trustees and the sisters said, we're all for having football. We want to make sure we have the right young men who come and play football, because I realize Yankton hasn't always had that experience. And so we were very intentional about that. The football coaches get it, and it has been a wonderful experiment that has paid off very well. I think for those young people coming to our community, certainly for Mount Marty, and judging by all the people who come to tailgates who have no connection with Mount Marty University and come to the games, it's been good for the community as well. Thank you, great question. Anything else? All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
So we'll wrap this up quick. I know people got probably things they need to do. Thank you, Dr. Kindle, Dr. Long, Tristan Brinkman. We hijacked you for your lunch hour. Yankton High grad, by the way. Well, yeah. Ask any of the instructors here that need IT help. Tristan, you're great. Thank you. Was this a lot of fun? Huh? Yeah. I just love walking. Yeah. I love walking in here and hearing the noise. I mean, it's just fellowship, camaraderie, a lot of connections here. You don't see everybody all the time. And so, again, this is maybe the start of something great this year. We're planning with the service club centered around it. Just 1 minute on the Optimist Club. Our mission is youth, not any different than a lot of the service clubs we have here. You might find some of our programs from last year. Our fiscal year runs till the end of September. Tom Stotz is the outgoing president. Yours truly is incoming president, October 1. So Jeff Otterman's been a president. We Birches have been president. A lot of presidents in there with the Optimist Club. Gave away. We earned service money, whatever you want to call it, $32,000 went back to the Yankton community from the Optimist Club. Just so something you might want to keep that in mind. And again, all that money goes back to serving youth activities in and around the Yankton area. So if you'll join me at the end here, we're going to do our Optimist Creed to end our meeting. You might find it on the tables. And if I could get you to please rise for that, we'll be done with our meeting. Thank you so much for coming. Optimist members have it memorized, I know that. So we'll start off with, promise yourself. To be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. To make all your friends feel that there is something in them. To look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true. Thinking only the best, to work only for the best, to expect only the best. To be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. To forget the mistakes of the past and press on to greater achievements of the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times, to give every living creature you meet a smile. To give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others. Too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to admit the presence of trouble.